we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of FSI's PGA Preview. It is I, TK Nation, joined by John. John, how are you this evening?
I'm doing real good. This was a fun last week, a little bit of a letdown on Sunday without the without a two-man race, but it was fun. I'm looking forward to another good week. The playoffs are just rolling on. How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good. Been a long day today. What a fun weekend, though. I had DJ in every single weekend lineup, every single showdown lineup. I mean, 30 under for the week is unbelievable, honestly. I haven't seen somebody run away from a tournament like that in a long time. So you'll have it. If you were on DJ last week, obviously you didn't need anyone else other than him. He scored an astronomical amount of points and moved himself into the number one ranking in the world. So congrats to him. Congrats to our winners. I like you before we were talking on the show, broke even. Just maybe a couple extra bucks, but nothing too crazy. Didn't have enough DJ, and DJ ruled. So, all right. Well, as we are in the playoffs, we get to the BMW Championship for the second round of the playoffs, and we are down to the top 70 golfers. So, John, where are we golfing this week, and what can we expect?
Yeah, so this week, this is the penultimate event, so second of 3 rounds, the BMW Championship. This is another rotating course, so it is not the same course that everyone played on last year. This year is Olympia Fields, Illinois, for the Olympia Fields Country Club. There is 2 courses here. This is the North Course. They played on this course for the 2003 U.S. Open as well. There's really only 2 golfers in the field who played back then, Tiger and Charles Howell III. So we're not looking at any course history here. This is par 70, 7,300 yards, and bent grass greens. We're expecting really long, rough, lush rough to deal with this week, so accuracy is going to be much more important. And really, I think it's all about trying to make that top 30 this week. So guys might play a little bit more conservative if they're up top. And the guys that are, not right now ranked 40th, 50th, 60th, they're going to be really going for birdies this week. So it'll be fun to see. Lots of sand on this course also. So I'm looking at sand saves a little bit. The other conditions I'm looking at here or stats. So the sand saves, greens in regulation, ball striking, approach like we do every single week. But then just that drive accuracy is going to be really important. Driving distance, not so much, but we're looking as well at the bent grass putting. So that's pretty much it on the course breakdown here. Anything else you have to add?
No, I think you, as always, do a great job breaking our course down. If you want to find John's No Mulligans article, it breaks down the course in writing, and he gives you a couple plays to watch as the week goes on. But yeah, good stuff on the course. Looking forward to it. Let's get into some picks.
Oh, sure. I didn't mention the weather, actually.
Oh, yeah, weather. Sorry about that.
No problem. That's my fault. It's probably going to be a little bit windy here. We're looking at even Friday, some potential rainstorms coming through. So we'll really want to pay attention on Wednesday night. There is always that chance that we'll be able to do some wave stacking or really playing that round 1 or round 2 showdown opportunities as well. So that's about it on the weather.
Yeah, typical Chicago stuff. All right, let's get into some picks. We got the 10K and up range. Obviously, starting at the top, we have DJ as now the highest salary on the slate at 11.5, going off the big win. Where you stand on DJ? We going right back to DJ and cramming him into our lineups?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to play some DJ this week. Obviously, he's one of the hottest golfers right now. There's a whole lot to like about him. I think the issue here is going to be the price. You really can't pay the 11.5 in cash. And some of these other top golfers, JT, DeChambeau, and Webb also, they're all under 11K. You're going to get a much bigger discount. I think they're more playable than DJ this week, although I'll certainly have my shares. DJ's great in the playoffs. He's obviously great off the tee, so there is a lot to like there. Is he your go-to this week, you think?
I'm definitely going to be playing a lot of DJ. He is first in the model, 5th in ball striking, first in opportunities gained and sixth in par four scoring, which I found to be a good correlation with winners and top 10 finishers. DJ's won multiple WGCs, which are no cut events. So he really flourishes in these tournaments that, emphasize no cuts and low scoring. So I do like DJ coming off a big win. I do agree with you. The 11-5 is going to be pretty hard for cash. If you think he goes back to back and he dominates like he did last week, I think it's I think you can make that play.
Sure.
I don't think I'm going to do it because I think I'm going to try to be a little bit more balanced in my approach for cash games and maybe try to find 5 top 10 picks instead of maybe just the winner and a bunch of guys that finish in like the 40s. So that's gonna be my emphasis this week. But who is your favorite guy in this range? Who is your guy of emphasis?
Sure, I alluded to him a little bit, but we play him the majority of weeks. That's Justin Thomas here. I think personally above 10K, he's going to be the highest owned golfer. He has not played the greatest the last two events, T49, T37. Obviously, he had the win right before that. But I think the price is really good on him. If we're looking like short-term, last 24 rounds, he's number 1 in approach, 7th in greens and regulation. And then even long-term, he's number 1 tee to green. He's really, really good on approach as well. And he rates out good on the par 4 scoring. I think just for him, he needs to find his putter. He has not been putting very well lately. But if he finds that, obviously, back at FedEx St. Jude, he can put himself in contention really quick when it comes to that. So I'll probably end up with a whole lot of him, although if we learn on Wednesday night that he's going to be, something like 35% owned because there's only 70 golfers, I might end up pivoting, play a little Bryson DeChambeau here. Rory is probably going to be the least owned in this range just because of the current form right now. But honestly, he could strike at any moment. I think he probably carries the most risk of these guys above 10K, but certainly if you're looking for an ownership pivot, Rory is your guy right here. But personally, I end up playing Bryson about every week, so I'll probably have him instead. I'm a sucker.
You can't quit on Bryson now. You got to keep going back to the well.
Right.
I am going to quit on Rory. I know that's going to be a great ownership play at the top, but I feel like his form, I followed him all last week, and it is bad. His irons are off. I mean, he had 2 chips on 2 par 5s that are scoreable last week where he chipped the ball backwards. It happened twice.
It was impressive, actually.
I don't know. I'm off Rory. I'm going to be playing a lot of Webb Simpson at 10-1. 4th in par 4 scoring, 14th in my model this week, coming off of a 3rd at the Wyndham and a 6th at the Northern Trust. The putter's really hot right now. He's gaining a lot of ground on the greens. I think Webb Simpson makes for an elite play at 10-1, possibly a place where I start my cash lineups this week because I feel like Webb also has the winning upside with the 2 wins he does have this year. No cut event, 9 top 10. So Webb's a strong play this week. I feel like he's going to be a popular pick because of the discount from him in DJ. But yeah, good cash play this week, Webb Simpson.
Yeah.
Let's drop down and do this next range. Not too many 9K golfers this week. Is there a favorite you got in this range?
Honestly, I think they're all really playable. My favorite, though, Colin Morikawa. That's probably not a shock to anybody here. I play him just about every single week. I did play him when he had his missed cut last week. That was his 2nd career missed cut to go along with the 2 career wins in that same span. So I'm really not worried at all about the missed cut here. Looking at it closely, he lost 4.3 strokes on approach. That was the worst of his career. So I do not expect that to happen again anytime soon. He's typically extremely accurate off the tee. Number 2 over the last 24 rounds on fairways gained. He's also super accurate on approach. He's number 3 over the last 50 rounds on approach. So his tee to green numbers are fantastic. And he's now up to number 5 in the world golf rankings. He was at 65 to end last year, so he's gained 60 spots in the world rankings in really under 1 year. So I like everything that Colin's doing right now. I will play a whole bunch of him. I think the price is fantastic, too, at 9.5. He's, I think, the third highest priced golfer on Yahoo this week. So unfortunately, I might have to tone down my ownership on him on that site. He's higher priced than DJ is over there, which is kind of interesting. So, yeah, Colin Morikawa is going to be my highest owned golfer here. I do like Daniel Berger quite a bit too. Who's your favorite here?
Yeah, we're going to go into Berger. Berger is my favorite guy here. I think I'm going to be with you on playing Morikawa. I played him last week as well. I tried to play him on the weekend. It just didn't work. Or tried to play him on Friday. It didn't work out. But yeah, Berger's my guy here. Second in the model, third on the approach, seventh in ball striking, which is off the tee plus the approach. He is second in par 4 scoring and seventh putting. So he's got a really hot putter. He's coming off of a third place finish at the Northern Trust, a 13th place finish at the PGA Championship, and a second at St. Jude. Not many better in form right now than Daniel Berger. He was a big proponent of most of my winnings last week. I think Daniel Berger makes for another strong cash play at 9-7. He's just on another level, and I think he's going to be competing and contending for the FedEx Cup Championship.
Yeah.
I mean, if JT runs away with this field, though, it's going to get quite interesting. I think, JT wins either one of these weeks next week, this week or next week. I think he's going to take it. But, yeah, Morikawa is another one that's going to be competing for that FedEx Cup Championship. So yeah. I like Berger and Morikawa. I think, if you want to have an honorable mention in this tier, Scheffler is coming off of a 60 and a second place finish, and he's got a lot of momentum in his favor, very good off the tee, so maybe you could look at Scotty Scheffler. I think his ownership's going to be a little inflated because of the previous week,
and the price is pretty high too,
and the salary went up, so it might be a stay away. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to be leaning for 9K range.
Sure. I think Day is an interesting pivot off of both of those guys too. He'll be much lower owned. He was really hot going into this last week. So we don't need to dig into him a ton. Obviously the numbers were bad last week, but he did have a bunch of top fives right before that. So Day's an interesting play, especially as a pivot in tournaments.
Definitely agree with you there. All righty, the 8K range. I'm going to start us off. I'm going to talk a little bit about Viktor Hovland at 8,100. He's ninth in my model, fourth on the approach, ninth in ball striking, eighth in greens gained, sixth in opportunities gained, coming off of an 18th place finish at the Northern Trust, and a 33rd at the PGA. He gained 2.4 on the approach last week. Viktor Hovland's not very strong around the green, so I'm very much hoping his irons are going to be on. Obviously, the approach, 2.4 strokes gained on the approach last week is a good sign of that. Viktor Hovland, really good off the tee, keeps the ball in the fairway. He's got some decent distance as well. He's very good at scoring on par 5s and par 4s. So I'm going to be rolling with Viktor Hovland at 8,100. I think for the same price, Paul Casey makes for a decent play as well. What about you? What do you got in this 8K range?
Sure. I guess we can't forget to talk about Harris English. He's not my number one play, but he's in fantastic form right now. Second place last week. He's got a whole bunch of top 25s in a row, and just that one miscut back at the Charles Schwab. So I think he's going to be extremely high owned. I think that's a guy that I might end up fading a little bit in tournaments here over the weekend, just because the ownership. It's nothing due to his form. His approach is fantastic right now. The putter has been kind of carrying him a bit. The accuracy is not really there off the tee, so that's what scares me a bit about his game. So instead, I'm going to play a whole bunch of Kevin Kisner. He is potentially in better form than Harris English. He's got the 4 straight top 25s, back-to-back top 5s. Over his last 50 rounds, he's 14th in fairways gained, 15th on approach over the last 24 rounds. So he's definitely accurate off the tee, accurate with the irons, really good on par 4 scoring. He is number 3 on putting on bent grass greens over the last 100 rounds too. So I think he has the all-around game here to score really, really well on this course and make his way up the leaderboard too. I think he's he's towards the bottom of that top 30. So he definitely needs a good week to kind of shore up his spot in the next week's Tour Championship.
I like that a lot. Yeah, Kevin Kisner is always a threat to perform pretty well on bent grass greens. I think with all that being said, you're going to have to get me. You got me onto Kisner again. I should never have jumped off last week. What a performance! All
Yep.
right, so let's keep it rolling into
Yep.
7K. I think there's quite a few plays in the 8K range you can play, but let's just try to keep this rolling along. 7K range, I like Matt Kuchar a lot. Hasn't really been a guy I've played a tremendous amount since the restart. But at 7,400, I started to see some glimpses of some form coming back to Kuchar. He had 18th place finish last week. He gained a 1.4 on the approach, 3.3 tee to green. He's eighth in par four scoring and third in putting. I think he's starting to find a rhythm. And Matt Kuchar is definitely a top 10 grinder, has not had that form as he typically does this year, but I think the pandemic kind of halted all of his momentum. He's starting to see the ball a little bit better off the tee. So when Kuchar starts to drive the ball better, putt the ball better, I'm definitely going to be on him as he is a great scorer. Going to get a new cut event. So going to love Matt Kuchar as a safe pick in my lineups for cash games. What about you in 7K?
Sure. I think he's probably going to be the most popular golfer here, but for all the right reasons. That's Russell Henley. He's been playing really well lately.
Hottest irons.
Yeah, that's right. He's got back-to-back top tens, but you're right. It's the iron play has been really, really good. He's gained strokes in actually all the categories the last two events, including putting. But it's the approach. He's number one on approach the last 24 rounds, number one greens in regulation. He's also number 5 sand saves. I'm looking at him on Yahoo. He is minimum priced over there, so I'm going to play a whole lot of him. Also, Harris English, who we mentioned, he is basically minimum price as well. He's $1 more than min price. So he's going to be
two plays.
over there. Yeah. So Yahoo's got a whole lot of value this week that DraftKings doesn't. But Henley, I think, is big value here on DraftKings this week. So yeah, the form, the approach, he's going to be a very, very popular option, and I'm going to end up falling into that. Hopefully it's not a trap, but I'll play quite a bit of Russell Henley this week. I am kind of a sucker for him, but I play Kevin Na quite a bit. I'm going to go back to the well this week. T39 last week. He's got some top tens since the stoppage, so quite a bit to like there. He's accurate off the tee and accurate on approach as well. So Kevin Na interests me quite a bit. Do you have anyone else here in the 7K?
Right between Henley and Kuchar, I like Jason Kokrak. He's coming off of a 13th place finish at the Northern Trust and a 15th place finish at the Wyndham Championship. He's 25th in my model, 15th in ball striking, 10th off the tee, and at Wyndham he gained 8.3 strokes tee to green, two strokes approach, and at the Northern Trust he gained 7.8 tee to green, 4.5 on the approach. So he is really hitting the ball pretty well. So I think all of this current form is justified based on his strokes gained numbers. I don't think those go away as he is a decent play for his price at 7,500. No cut event, so Kokrak doesn't have the opportunity of screwing us on Friday and missing a cut. So I'm going to be all 4 rounds for Kokrak. I think the ball striking numbers are good enough for me to feel comfortable putting him into a lot of my GBP lineups this week. Anything else in the 7K range, or we good to?
Corey Connors is interesting as well. And really, if we're talking just an accuracy guy, Brendan Todd comes up. Last time I rarely play him, and then as soon as I did, he bombed out. So I don't know if I'll end up back there. But if you're looking for just super accurate, and also Abraham Manser, very good on the model, but we'll see if I can get their price. I wish he was a little bit cheaper, and he burned me last week also.
Yeah, he did not play well. Oh, it's unfortunate. He has been playing pretty well all year.
Yeah.
But we'll drop down into the 6K range, start to close this out. I like Adam Long at 6,300. He did only finish 49th last week, but he did gain 4.4 strokes on the approach, He's 23rd he's 23rd on the approach, 37th in greens gained in the field. He had a 31st place finished at the Wyndham Championship, and last month he finished third at the 3M Open. So he does have upside. He has won at places like Pebble Beach before in his life. 3 top tens this year. He's played a lot of golf. I think Adam Long makes for a really good play for price at 6,300. If you want to go to fit guys like DJ, JT into your lineup, you're going to need to punt. And I think Adam Long, and maybe just to mention a guy down here, Tyler Duncan is someone I typically play all the time because he's really good off the tee, very accurate with his approach and his ball striking. The putting and the chipping have been inconsistent this year, and that's what's made for some miscuts and some bad placed finishes. But he, like Adam Long, has played a ton of golf this year, both having 24 events on the year is 10, 15 more events than other guys mentioned. So they've really had the opportunity of getting their game to where they want it to be. I do like Tyler Duncan a little bit as well. What about you in this 6K range? Who do you like punting?
Sure. My favorite play is going to be Kevin Streelman. He comes in right now with 6 made cuts in a row. It is nothing super flashy here of late, but he does have the 2 top 10s in June and July. He's really accurate off the tee. He's decent on approach. He does struggle with the putter though. But just kind of looking in the 6K range, he is the highest in the world golf rankings. He certainly is justified at this price. 6,400, I think, actually is a good value on him. He should really be a few hundred more than that. But I think he rates out really well for me compared to the other guys down here. I'm going to end up playing some Taylor Gooch this week. He's been coming on pretty well the last few weeks. Also, T18, T25. And another T18 back at the 3M. Brendan Steele, I played him a lot last week. He's interesting also. So there's a handful of guys that I do like in here. I don't know how much I trust any of them to go in cash, although as a no-cut event, really you're not going to get burned too bad by any of these guys unless they completely bottom out. But they at least will get 4 rounds. So that's probably about it. Those are my favorite plays there for the 6K.
All right, I was just writing down some one-and-done picks. I like Brendan Steele and Gooch a lot. Those are 2 plays I played over the weekend as well. Brendan Steele's been really good with his putter, so that's always good things you want to see. But I made my one-and-done selection as you were going through that. Do you have yours ready, sir?
Yeah, I'll take Kevin Kisner.
I had a feeling you were going to go Kisner. I'm going to go Victor Hovland.
All right, I like that. That's close.
So we're gonna
guys on draft.
Both 8K. Yeah, maybe we'll get an 8K winner this week. Make for a bunch of different lineups at the top. Maybe we don't get a stud that just runs away with it, and that's all you need to win. Yeah, when you get an 8K winner, it changes a lot of things in that leaderboard.
Yeah, I think we alluded to it a little bit earlier, but again this week I'm going to really focus on Wednesday on ownership. For the tournaments and try and get off some of the guys that are going to be super high owned. I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking Harris English and Henley are both potential guys that I might end up jumping off of. They're very, very good plays right now, but if the ownership creeps up too much, you've got to make some bit of difference elsewhere. You can play them both if you want, but then you really need to get somebody that's not going to garner a bunch of ownership, like your Duncan or your Long, something like that, to be able to kind of pull back and be unique.
Right. I can't agree more. When you get to these no-cut events, ownership really helps you separate yourself when it comes to the leaderboards. I think Webb and Berger are going to be pretty high owned as well. This could be a week where everybody makes lineups and they say they're playing DJ and how DJ is an amazing play, and then come Thursday, DJ's only 20%. And 20% is still relatively high, but we're talking about a guy that just went 30 under last week, 20%. And if he does the same exact thing, it's relatively low when someone like Webb Simpson could be 25. So that 5%,
with a small field, we're going to see lots of guys over 20-25%, when most weeks that's your top end, your highest owned guy. But this week, there'll be quite a few in that range. So we'll put all of that in the Discord chat, everything we can find on ownership going into Wednesday night. So certainly check in with us then to see kind of how we've changed our minds a little bit on a few guys. Although the stats aren't going to change to back up the guys we like already, the ownership could kind of sway us a little bit to some different names, same prices.
Absolutely. Awesome stuff, John, as always. That is going to wrap it up for us at FSI. Like John said, catch us on the Discord chat this week. We got a lot to go over as far as ownership. We'll keep our eyes on the weather. And, thank you for checking in. As always, like and subscribe our videos. Anything else to add, John?
That's it. Let's get some green screens.
That's right. Let's keep it rolling. PGA's running thin. Our swing season is almost upon us. So let's try to close it out well. And until next time, guys.
All right. Peace.